Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the True Talk podcast. This is episode 13, and this week we'll be talking about stop and search laws, homeschooling, Nick Cannon, and Wayfair. And as always, I'm joined firstly by the True Talk First Lady, Miss Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. A man who needs no introduction, Mr. True Talk himself, Mr. Ashley. Our very own Welsh princess, Miss Nadia.
Hey.
Our favourite small island girl, Miss Cher.
Yeah.
And of course, myself, DJ Sticky Fingers. And as I said, first up, we're going to talk about stop and search laws. So no better person to go with is our very own First Lady, Miss Chitty, because she's been stopped and searched the most. Chitty, over to you.
Yes, I've been stopped and searched many times. I'm proud of it. No, it's not even funny. Like one time, I got stopped for driving in my pajamas or my slippers, and the police officer actually said to me, like, "Why are you driving in your pajamas?" So I just said, like, "Why not? Is it a crime?" I didn't know it was a crime, and he said, "You shouldn't really be driving in your slippers because it's not safe to drive in slippers." But I just said to him, like, what's the real reason why you stopped me? Because we know it's not because I'm in my pajamas. But he couldn't really give me a reason. And then he just like chatted a little bit of shit and then just said I was okay to go. Another time, me and 3 of my black friends, and yes, I'm going to say black, and yes, I am going to play the race card because we know that's what it was about. We just got stopped. We were literally just walking home from a night out, and we wasn't causing like a scene or anything. We wasn't doing anything untoward, and they just stopped us and actually searched us as well. And it was horrible. It wasn't even nice. There's been many times I've been stopped, and I do believe it's because of the colour of my skin. But yeah, no, definitely. I do believe, like, obviously living in Wales. Yeah, it's a little bit mad. So yeah, that's it really. It's just been many times. It's always for foolishness. It's never for an actual reason.
Can I just ask you, did they ask you to remove any items of clothing when you were stopped and searched?
They just asked me to take my bag off, put it on the ground. A female officer asked me to remove my jacket. And she actually asked me what size bra I was, which I made a complaint about that. Yeah, it was mad. She said to me, like, and she asked me if my boobs were natural. Wow. And I just said to her, "Well, do you want to feel them? Do you want to touch them? Like, what do you want to do?" I didn't understand the nature of the question, and she didn't explain it to me, so I made the complaint. And even up to now, I'm still waiting for an explanation as to why she asked me if my boobs were natural. Obviously, the time I went to Jamaica, on the way back, there was 2 girls in front of us, and they clearly gone over to have their batty done. They flew over to Cuba. We found out later on that they'd flown to Cuba and had their bums done. And I got stopped because of that as well. And they just said that a female officer was going to have to pat me down, like on the back of my body, to just check that it was consistent. And it was like, and it was jiggly. Because, but you know what? On that occasion, it was mad because our flight got delayed by, we sat on the plane for like an hour and 15 minutes, and it did turn out that the girl was carrying in her bum. But it was like, I got stopped because of that, because they thought I was with them. I just thought it was really, really unfair, and they just made me feel away. Do you know what I mean? But is what it is, isn't it? I can't help it if I got a big body.
Should have done a twig just to prove it was real.
You know what I mean? Yeah, but it's been a madness. Not gonna lie.
But the thing is, I mean, I asked you if they asked you to remove any items of clothing, because obviously the stop and search rules are they can ask you to remove items of clothing, yes. But obviously if they ask you to remove any sort of undergarments, gets a little bit more personal. They have to be the same sex as you.
Yes.
So that's the reason why I've asked. But...
And I find that the female officers who stopped me or said anything, I just found that they were really extra. Like even being searched at the airport, they've just been extra to the point, like, I'm like, no, stop touching me now, innit? Like, I just didn't understand it. Didn't understand the nature of it. But I don't know. Who knows?
But they're supposed to tell you before they search you as well. You know, they're supposed to give you a certain amount of information before they do so as well. You know, their name, which police station they're from, and they do. I don't know if I'm right in saying this, but I think they have to give you grounds to go on. So, you know, like you said, reason to believe that you are committing a crime or, you know, hiding drugs or whatever it is. But they are supposed to give you, you know, but it doesn't always happen, does it? I mean, you know,
no. It's like, and the times that I have been given an explanation is because it's drugs. They think that I've got drugs on my persons. Like, and they've searched my hair, all sorts. It's weird. I don't even do drugs.
Chids, can I play devil's advocate here a second? It's a slight second here, because of all the stuff you said, I can empathise with what you're saying, right? And I think this is this profile, isn't it? Except for the one at the airport, oddly enough, because you're saying that there were some other girls in front of you that had a similar body type, and they were actually drug mules, I think that's the correct term, right? So yeah. How does that one make you feel, knowing that it was...
That one, I wasn't too, like, obviously when it was happening at the time, I thought, like, rah, like, even, like, my mum was like, why are you doing that? That's ridiculous. And it like, I felt slightly, like, violated, but another, like, customs officer, because he could see the state that I was getting in, he came and, like, kind of whispered in my ear and explained it to me. And this was actually, like, in Jamaica, leaving Jamaica, innit? So, but with that one, I wasn't too pissed about that one because I understood it. Obviously, when our flight got delayed and then we learned that you know, they got carted off the plane and everything, I understood it then. So I understood from like, you know, the customs point of view of why they could suspect that I was carrying. Totally understood it, because those girls, they were fast. They put themselves right next to me because they were being clever. Well, they were trying to be clever, innit? But then they got caught. But
did they give you a copy of the stop and search when you were stopped and searched? Did they give you any sort of written
at the airport?
documents?
They did, yeah. At the airport, they did, yeah, because it was really, and I think the one time when the female officer asked me about my boobs, she gave me a written copy of everything as well, but I wasn't satisfied with that. I really wasn't satisfied with it. But she thought I was carrying drugs in my bra, because she said she said the one looked abnormal. That's what she said, the cheeky bitch. I said, you're only jealous because you haven't gone in.
Yeah,
you know what? I think she may have had a point. So I think what you really need to do is disprove that. So I think you really should show everyone on the live, you know, what you know, is it true or not? Actually, with Ashley shaking his head, but I know Ashley's agreeing with me. I'm just saying, this is my views, okay? Just putting it out there, right?
I'll send you a private picture of the group chat.
No, there you go, yeah. No group enterprise, no joint enterprise. Don't try to get me bagged with you, blood. Okay.
Fair enough, I'm with you. Shit, tell us about your experience of being stopped and searched.
Yeah, so I only got searched, well, actually I've been searched more than once, but in terms of being searched by the police, I got searched once, and it was literally me and my friend, we just went to Subway, you know, went to get our sub, and we just sat there and ate our food, and then as we were sat there, loads of police decide to come in, and they just say, we've got a right to search you all, you know, we suspect that there's drugs or whatever here, so we have to search every single one of you in Subway. and coincidentally, not even coincidentally, every single person there was black. So yeah, it was obvious why they were doing it, because they didn't even find anything on anyone anyway. So it was a bit of a violation. And then at the end, actually, I realized, I swear the police stole my ID, you know, because when I got home, because they asked you to show your ID, so we all had to show our ID. Then when I got home, I realized it was my provisional, and I realized that I never had it. So I was thinking, hang on, did they even give it back to me? Thinking about it, I swear they took my ID. But yeah, I just think when it comes to black people and white people being searched, it's a completely different story. Like, it's just ridiculous. And there was another time as well. This wasn't by police. This was just, I went into a shop. This is when I was on holiday in France. And I went into a shop, and what happened is I was with my mum and sister, so I decided to wait outside. So I went outside. This woman working in the shop came up to me and went in my bag. I was like, what do you think you're doing? She was like, I'm searching your bag to see if you've stolen anything. And I was like, you're being serious? What makes you think that? And then she just walked away and went back in the shop. And then, yeah, after that, my mom just like cussed her out. But it was obvious why she was doing it. But yeah, that just pissed me off. Excuse my French.
It's so weird. I remember there was another time I was stopped in Primani, yeah? So imagine, I've said to these two young white girls, be careful, because I could see they were teething, innit? So I said to them, be careful, because they're watching you, innit? Just be careful, girls. I mean, I'm not trying to get involved in what you're doing. But when I was going in there, so the two security guards on the door were two African guys. And the one African guy said to me, what's your name? I've never seen you before. I said, you don't need to know my name. Leave me be. I'm going to do my shopping, innit? So then he didn't like that. He got a bit vexed, innit? So imagine I'm coming out of there now. When I was at the till, I didn't have a bag. What I bought was like really small items. So I put them in my bag. Said to the woman, I don't need the bag. I'll put them in my bag. So when I'm coming out now, I just go to step out, and then I just feel a hand grab me back, innit? So I'm like, what the fuck's going on? And the guy saying, come with me, you stole, da-da-da-da-da, we've got you on camera, blah, blah, blah. Dragged me into the back of the room. It's the two African guys, they've come with the white manager. So even the white manager's saying, what's going on? And he said, you stole something, you know you stole something. So the guy's telling me to empty my bag. So I emptied my bag and everything. I had like a pair of Samsung headphones, like just all bits and stuff that I bought in another shop and whatever, which I had receipts for. I have my phone to say that I've paid for. You could see on my bank statement that I paid for them. And the two African guys are screaming at me. And I said to the one guy, this is because when I came in, you tried to talk to me and I told you to move, innit? And you didn't like the rejection. So you thought you just fuck up my whole day now and get your own back by doing this. And then in the end, when the manager got to the bottom of it, the other security guard said, yeah, that's basically what happened. And they had to give me like £500 worth of vouchers and all that. It was all mad because they were like, oh, I'm going to phone the police. I said, phone the police, innit?
That's a sick story, man. That's how you know. That's why women always complain. Have you noticed anywhere you go with a woman, she'll find something to complain about. And they know it's a hustle, fam. Trust me, man. You go to the cinema, the girl's complaining about the popcorn or complaining about the juice. She'll go get a whole refill. You get me? And go, it's like you got to do is chat shit. You know, like that, but man can't be bothered to do all of that complaining shit. You get me? But that's the women are good at that.
Yeah, I wouldn't have complained if he didn't drag me back into the shop. Do you know what I mean?
No, I get it. I'm just saying, you know, like man would have just walked out like, I didn't teeth nothing. Fuck you, dickhead.
Yeah.
A woman's not gonna just do that. She's gonna be like, "What do you think I'm leaving now? What you got for me now, bro?" You get me? But that's the same thing when it kind of leads on to the same kind of thing when we're talking about stop and search and educating your kids about their rights and educating them about what they can do and what they can't do. Do you know what I'm saying? Because stop and search is only really like a problem or really a bad thing if you're one of them kids that don't do nothing wrong, innit? If you're one of them kids that you just look like the demographic and you're getting stopped all the time based on that, you need to be aware of what you can say and what you can't say. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, and if like, and the only reason why I say this is because obviously race was mentioned, yeah, because a lot of people will say, oh, it's nothing to do with race or nothing, yeah. But just to put it into perspective, how many times have you been walking down the road, driving down the road, and seen a group of black youths handcuffed with their trousers halfway down, getting searched? You feel me? Like it's so familiar that it's not. Before you might even look and pay a little bit of attention, but now you just keep walking because you see it so often. Imagine if if it was different and you just see like a lot of white youths or like on the corner getting moved to by feds like that. The image wouldn't settle in the same because it's not something that happens in the same, you get me, same kind of way. You get me? But I don't think it's because necessarily, I think obviously it's because of racism to an extent, but I think it's more to do with education and the understanding of what police are allowed to do to you and what police are not allowed to do to you. Because the white youths know, they're aware, innit? They're aware that the police can only do this, they can only do that, they can only search you based on this, they can only come in their yard if they got a warrant, they can only, do you get what I'm saying? They're aware of the law that protects them, innit? That's the reason why you don't see them getting moved to in their 4s and 5s on the street every day. You know what I mean? I don't think that's the only reason, but I think that's more to do with it than people are really going to accept. Because people don't really want to take fault in, in their own self, being like, we're the reason why our kids are getting stopped and searched. Because obviously, think about it, like, if your youth's going out in a do-rag, a hat, a bally, a jacket, a man bag, a rucksack, and a fucking body warmer, like, you know. Do you get what I'm saying? You know what's going to happen. Do you get what I'm saying? You know that he's going to take responsibility. Tell him you shouldn't look like that. Tell him you shouldn't. I'm not saying he can't dress how he wants to, but you got to make him aware, like, boom, if you go out like that, that's going to, if you got the man bag on your waist like that, people are going to think you got a knife in there. If you got a backpack as well, people are going to think that's in there. That means it gives them grounds to stop you. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Not to say that they have, like, you know what I'm saying? It gives them grounds because you look like you got a bag on, what's in your bag, in the area where these things happen. Do you get what I'm saying? So you have to teach your kids, you have to teach them, make them aware of certain things, you know what I'm saying, in order to save themselves. You get what I mean? That's why it's so easy to, because I remember being young, yeah, and you know, like the night gloves, remember the night gloves, like the golfing gloves, yeah. I remember when they became cool, everyone wanted night gloves, you get me? But the night gloves makes it look like you've got a weapon and you don't want the fingerprints on it. That's the silent, you get me, conversation. That's what people secretly think, even if you're not really about that life. The gloves symbolize that. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So if you're wearing the gloves, you can't, and you got a backpack on, and you got the hat, and you got the do-rag underneath, and you got the rucksack on your back as well. Do you get what I'm saying? You gotta kind of expect it. Do you get what I'm saying? Not that it makes it right, but you give them grounds. You know what I mean? So we got educate kids about these kind of things a little bit, I think.
Yeah, that can work to an extent, but like, I know people who've been stopped and searched and they're not even dressed in that way at all. Like, I remember one guy telling me that he was on the way, when he was younger, he was on the way to his prom, dressed in a suit, you know, with shoes, you know, thinking he was flying that, and then the police stopped and searched him. So it's like, we can educate, but
yeah, but this is the thing. Only reason why I say that is because I used to be able to be stopped and searched. Man can't stop and search me now. I used to be able to be stopped. It doesn't matter what I'm wearing necessarily. I can wear whatever the hell I want to wear. Yeah, even if I've got a mask or whatever. I can't be stopped and searched now because I'm aware that you need certain grounds in order to stop and search me. Do you get what I'm saying? I need to, you know what I'm saying? Like, I need to be in a public place. I need to you need to have suspected me of a particular crime. You know what I'm saying? Like, you need to have some type of evidence. You need to, you know what I'm saying? Like, or if you just stopping me basically because you want to know my name, you can't do that because you have no reason to know my name unless I've committed a crime. If you want to search me based on the fact that you think I might have a knife, go ahead, pat me down and surface pattern because you're telling me you think I have a knife. I can't stick a knife in my balls. I can't stick a knife up. You know what I'm saying? So you can't strip search me based on the fact I've got a knife. You have to pat me down because that's what you suspect me of. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, if you're aware of certain things, it can only go so far. Do you get me? Because it's not like you can strip search me because you told me you think I got a knife. Hold on, that doesn't make sense. You think I got a knife? Pat down my bag, pat down my body. Okay, clearly I've got no knife. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Like, if I don't know that, then they're gonna say, all right, we think you got a knife, we're gonna strip search you. Where the two doesn't go together. Do you get what I mean?
Definitely some valid points in there. Before we go over to our banter queen Milan, I'm going to read some of these messages quickly, all right? Kaiser Soul says, Salam alaikum, brethren, peace be upon you all. He also says, Chile, did they give you a fine for carrying a dangerous weapon? Talking about Chile getting stopped and search with her assets. The real dominant goddess says, big up share. T Tekla says we have standards. I'm talking about Ashley's comment in terms of always complaining when they go out. T Tekla also says, if you are paying good money, I want my money's worth. Kaiser Sosa says, racist in uniforms. T Tekla also says, depends on where you live. It's also economically. Kaiser says, I would stop anyone who wears their jeans halfway down and jail them. Should be made a crime in the UK. Artist Substance, big up yourself, says the time could just be cold though. It's not fair, but I get it. Tito says, my brother has been stopped in a suit. Means nothing. Substance says, knuckle dusters. Tito says, and you are just making excuses to poor behavior from the authority. And that's a slave's mindset. Okay, fair enough. This also says, but answering back T Tekla says, but answering back can be considered as resisting. So it doesn't matter how much you know. Okay, fair enough, some fair points in there.
I don't know, man. I'm not talking from, I don't know if man can see, but I'm actually like black and from the end. You know what I'm saying? So I think I've had enough experiences to talk from experience and not from like a fantasy perspective. So I'm saying that I have personally been stopped and I know what they can do and what they're not allowed to do to me, and they will not do it to me because I will not allow it. I've seen my little brothers, or anybody being stopped. I will go over there and make sure that they don't get violated, and what happens is legal. I'm able to do that. It's not like I'm saying it from a fantasy. I've seen police stop my little brother for no reason. I didn't even know it was my little brother. I just see a little youth getting stopped on his bike by police. I just walked over there knowing that I was going to help this little youth. It just happened to be my little brother. When I saw it was my little brother, the rage inside of me, the passion inside of me, bruv, to see that little youth who I didn't know at first happened to be my little brother. I'm saying, wow, okay, so what are you stopping him for? First of all, as soon as we found out what you're stopping him for, I'm like, so you searched him. Yeah, you didn't find nothing on him, so why is he still here? Why are you asking him his name? Why are you asking if he's been arrested before? That's irrelevant. You searched him, you didn't have what you thought you had on him. Now, little brother, ride off. Get on your bike right now and ride off. They cannot do nothing to you. Why? Because legally they cannot. If he didn't know that, he would have stood there, got his name. If he's got a warrant, he would have got nicked. You feel me? So, man, I have to know your thing. If you don't know your thing, don't blame me. You feel me?
T Tekla says,
no slave thing here, ever.
T Tekla says, I'm black from the ends. So let's head over to our very own banter queen, Milan. Milan, what's your thoughts on the stop and search?
So personally, I've only been stopped and searched, I think 3 times. 2 times we won't talk about, but the first time goes off of what Ashley was saying. So I was young, I was in school. I think I was like maybe in year 9 or year 10. And I wasn't educated, didn't know anything. I was on a bus in my school uniform coming home from school. Got stopped, whatever, handcuffed. Ended up getting taken to the station. Bearing in mind, I gave them my name, my address, like they had my school badge, they had all my book bag and whatever. To find out when we get there, and I'm doing my name, and I didn't realise at the time that I needed an adult, because I was underage. I didn't know that. So we're there, I've given my name. When we then get to the station and I give them like my name again, I'm not the person who they were supposed to have stopped. It was mistaken identity. When I saw the picture of the person they were supposed to get, we look nothing alike. Both of us are light skinned, but that was it. Like there was no like, oh, I see the similarities. There was nothing. It was just like, who's that? Like, that's not me. That's not my name. That's not where I live. That's not my school. But you know, I was uneducated at that time. So I definitely, obviously then growing up, from the ends, being around a load of my friends are guys, and are black. So growing up around that, and then around them and learning from them, and they were like, oh, you know that they couldn't do that, and they couldn't do that. And I'm like, didn't know. So I've learned from that. And then, yeah, and now that I'm older, yeah, we just won't talk about it every time, it's fine. Shop-wise, I get it a lot. So me and one of my friends, I'm really tall and she's really small. And I don't know if people are like fascinated by that, but literally we'll go into shops and all of a sudden eyes are on us. I remember one time we was in Boots and the security guard, it's like every time we turned a corner, this security guard was there, and he was like, and you know, okay, walking past him and saying, are you all right? And he's like, yeah. And he would start to tidy up. And I'm like, you're a security guard. Why are you tidying up? Anyway, we're walking around the shop again. And this guy's there. And I'm like, you all right, sir? He's like, yeah, tidying up. So then I clocked what he was doing. For some reason, he thought I was going to steal something. Bearing in mind, I've got my kid with me. And I'm 28. Like, what am I stealing? Do you know what I mean? So I said, okay, cool. I'm going to play your own game. So I got a basket and I was filling it up with the most expensive things I could find in Boots. Like, I was getting perfume off the shelves, I was getting electric toothbrushes, everything, filling up this big old basket. And then she had a basket that I was putting all the stuff that I wanted to buy in it. And we get to the till, and their till's like, it goes down a bit. So the basket that we had with all the expensive like stuff, like we left at like one end. I got in the queue and I only had the other basket with like a couple of things in it. I get to the till, I pay for everything, and then I leave the shop. But before I left the shop, this guy's now in front of the door, shut the doors, screaming in my face. My kid's there crying his eyes out. This guy's like, open your bag. I'm like, what for? Open your bag? I don't need to open my bag. What do you want me to open my bag for? He wouldn't tell me. Then he's like, we have to go out in the back. I said, what for? Whatever you're going to say in the back, you can say here in front of witnesses. He was like, you had a basket on you and it had a load of items in it. And the bag I had, obviously I've only now got one bag. The amount of stuff in the basket, I should have had a couple of bags on me. So I'm like, yeah, you saw me with a basket of stuff. How do you know that at the till I realised I didn't have enough money? So I've said to the lady, you know, keep it, it's cool, I'll only get these bits. He made me wait at the door with a member of staff, went to the till to check if I had handed over the stuff. And the lady was like, no, but she paid for the stuff that she had in the basket. So he's come back, where's the other basket? I said, sir, I don't know. But the stuff I bought, I've got my receipt and I'm on my way. He then called the security guard for the shopping centre I was in. They came down, watched back on the cameras everything that had happened. And the security guards were like, well, she paid for her stuff. The other basket's over there. What's the problem? And I'm just there smiling at him like, you think I was stupid? I know what you was doing, but why was you staring like at me and my friend? He couldn't answer. He just walked up. Do you know what I mean? And then one time I think I was in Primark, and my friend has like, you know, like a trolley, like the old lady's trolley. She has one of those. So we went into Primark. We literally walked around everywhere. We didn't literally buy like anything. On the way out, the lady comes running down the escalators. The guy's at the door, and we're looking around like, oh my God, like, are they going to stop? Again, they've stopped like me and my friend. open the trolley. Bearing in mind, the trolley, when they're empty, they're literally like flat down. So it's still flat down. It's not bulked out. It doesn't look any different to how I walked in. But we had to open the trolley. So I left the trolley there and I said, you can keep it if you want. Like, I don't care. He's like, oh no, you can't go. Like, I know you stole something. What did I steal? Like, tell me what I stole. He opened the thing. Literally, there was nothing in it. It was completely empty. And he was just like, oh, I think I made a mistake. You think? So, okay. But this is the thing, I don't get what it is. Is it because I'm really tall and she's really small? Is it because we're both black? Is it because we're without kids? Is it because when I walk into some shops, I walk in and I say hi? Because you're staring at me, so I'm going to acknowledge you and I'm going to say hi. Like, what is it? Do you know what I mean? Never know.
So some prime examples of stereotyping right there, firsthand. Let's go over to Ms. Nadia, because remember, Nadia is a mum of 3, so her kids, she might have a different perspective as knowing that your kids may have to encounter these sort of things as well. What's your views?
Like you mentioned earlier on, I think it's really important to educate them as early on as possible. You know, they're not going to get this kind of education in school settings. Mostly they'll hear stories from home, from friends, family. Obviously, my eldest son is 14, and he's into his fashion. You know, he's quite out there, and he wants to wear. At the moment, he's been asking if he can wear a do-rag, bandanas. You know, it's fashion and it's all cool, and he's quite proud of, you know, his background, his heritage, and everything else. But he said, you know, he has had some funny looks when he's been going into the shops. You know, there is definitely a lot of stereotyping going on in Wales. Like Chid understands, you know, that it is very different in Wales in comparison to London, you know, and other places. They're very, very uneducated. They're not as open-minded, and they do stereotype. I don't care what anybody says. There was an incident yesterday when I was at Cardiff Bay, and we were celebrating one of our friends' birthdays. And there was a big group of black male youths, mixed race men, and they were all sort of celebrating together, and they all came together. We were all having a good time, and then someone had some music on, and the police came over, and they came straight over to us and started, you know, putting pressure on. Do you know what I mean? Trying to make them move along. And I asked the police officer, why, you know, why have you come over, and what's your reason behind it? And they just said they couldn't really give us a good enough explanation. They just said that they'd had some phone calls or complaints just to say that certain people that were in that group at that time had caused problems before, but there was no evidence, there was no proof. They were just having a good time. It was a bunch of guys having a good time. It was someone's birthday. A couple of days before, there was a massive party in the same area with a loudspeaker, lots of music. There were drugs, all sorts of things going on, and there were no police present. There were no police at all. And then yesterday, just for no given reason, they came straight over to these young male, you know, and asked them to move along for nothing at all. There was no suspicious behaviour. There was nothing. Everyone was having a good time. You know, they bought drinks from the local bar, just having a good time. And it was just, I think, you know, like you said earlier on, it is stereotyping. But I do worry about my eldest more than the other two at the moment, because he's a big boy. He looks older than he is, and he has been challenged a couple of times because he looks older than he is, you know. And the other thing is as well, I'm not sort of playing the race cards or anything, but he is darker than all his friends, because all his friends are white males or white females. You know, he's the darkest. So he said there was an incident around the shop the other week. There was a postcode war that's been started in Wales now, in Cardiff. Fight, and somebody's nose was broken. And he said, I was just standing there minding my own business, even though I told him afterwards he should have just walked away and got out of the situation. And he said the police officer just asked me why I was there and what I was doing. He said he didn't ask any of my friends. So he's already experiencing it. now. He's only 14 years of age and he's already experiencing a little bit.
Like I was saying, that's like, I mean, like, you see that in terms of like a post-Cold War thing, yeah? This thing has been happening in London for as long as, for decades, whatever, people always been talking about it. Like, so my thing is this, yeah? If lots of boys are getting stabbed on a daily basis in London, and we keep on saying that we want the police or we want the government to do something about it, yeah? Because this is what man hears, isn't it? I don't necessarily want them to do nothing about it. I feel that we should do something about it. Like, I feel that we have to do something about it, otherwise nothing will, like, there's no government that's going to stop that from happening because they don't really care, innit? Do you get what I'm saying? There's no police that's going to stop that from happening. The police only come and deal with incidents once they're done, innit? So they don't care about what's going on, innit? So and as long as we keep saying stuff like, you like it doing nothing about the post-Cold War, our boys dying or our kids dying, they're going to be like, okay, cool. So that gives us grounds to go and stop and search all your boys then, fam. Because if you're telling us to do something, that means that we should be stopping more boys with more knives then, because that's all they can do, innit? Do you get me? So when I'm saying like we have to educate our children in order for them to be safe. You get what I'm saying? Like there's nothing more that anyone else can do to save our children. Like it's only us, innit? It's only gonna be us. It's only gonna be what they learn. It's only gonna be how they think. It's only gonna be how they move, how they walk, how they talk. That's the only thing that's gonna save them, innit? Because there ain't no police gonna save them. There ain't no government gonna save them. Even the ambulance might not save them, fam. Because the ambulance might all take half an hour to come because it's a stabbed victim. Like I've seen man get stabbed, bro. I've seen a man get stabbed, yeah, be bleeding out inside the establishment before the ambulance even come. The police come, and after the police come, then the ambulance car doctor man comes, and then the ambulance comes. Do you feel me? Like man could have died in that time. Luckily, the brother didn't die. But come on, this is what I'm saying. Like they don't care about what happens to our kids. They never go into.
My son's uncle was murdered years ago. So when I was pregnant with my son, my eldest son, Shafiq, his uncle was murdered down the docks. It was David McBill, you know, obviously he's on the shoes. So as a parent, I'm not about to wrap my children up in cotton wool. And, you know, I want them to be really open-minded. I want them to understand it is a big, bad world out there. And I do try to shelter them a little bit and protect them as much as I can. So I do encourage them not to hang around the streets. If they see anything happening, walk away, move away as soon as you can. You know, because I've made them understand that it could happen to you. You could be, like you said earlier on, one of you, I think it was Milan, wrongly identified, you know, because it does happen on a regular basis. In this area as well, there's like one or two boys that look like my son, and he's been mistaken for them in the past. So I just try and encourage them not to go out. Just not, you know, I'm not saying don't go out with your friends, but just be aware of your surroundings. If you see anything kicking off, move away. Don't hang around to see what's going on and watch the show. Move, because you could be arrested, you could be stabbed, anything. We did do. There was a few events in Cardiff actually that we were trying to raise awareness. There was the Gloves Up, Knives Down challenge. So there was an awareness, you know, trying to encourage boys, teenagers, you know, to sort of, you know, back in our day, we'd be fighting with our fists. There was no knives. There were, but not as much as there are now. But it's becoming more apparent now in our area that boys, maybe girls as well, actually, they are carrying weapons because they feel the need to, because others are carrying a weapon. So they think, well, if I haven't got anything and they've got something, you know, I've lost. It is really sad.
But then whose responsibility is that to keep that under wraps, or to make sure that doesn't get out of hand? Because the police obviously are just going to stop and search more people. You get me? The only thing is that if that's the case, parents got to be more vigilant, and parents got to be more involved in their children's lives. Like, regardless of how old they are, you got to be involved. Like, and if you don't, then that means they're going to be able to do whatever they want to do, and you're not going to be able to contain it or stop it when it gets out of hand. You get me? You have to be solely involved. Like, this is why homeschooling, when I even mentioned the topic of homeschooling, I didn't mean it in the sense of like teaching science and making paper mache volcanoes. You get me? I meant it in stuff like there's certain things you have to learn at home, innit? Because if you don't learn it at home, nobody is going to teach you. You get what I'm saying? And dealing with police and dealing with like dangerous situations is something that if you're not taught how to maneuver or how to keep yourself safe, you're gonna fall into some mad situations. Do you know what I mean?
Definitely.
Guys, I'm gonna read some messages quickly, and I want to ask a question as well. In fact, I'll go Milan first, but let me read the messages quickly. Right. So Simba Boy 24 says, very valid. Feds generalize their suspect pursuits, especially with black people, as well as the belief that there's a crime church or something. Kaiser Souza says, brother Ashley, you're so right. We're a real talk right there. He also says, R.I.P. David. And he says, Ashley is right. How can you ask the enemies, i.e. government, to help with post-Cold Wars when they want that stuff to happen? Then go first.
I was just going to say, you know, you need to be involved in your kids' lives and don't ever feel as if you're being, I don't know what the word is, like too inner. Do you know what I mean? Because there's so many times that kids get killed and then you hear on the news their parents are like, oh no, but he was a really good boy and he went to school and yeah, but you didn't know what else he was doing. He was showing you that when he came home, he said, like, he had manners and he was like talking different. But when he left the house, or her, when she had left the house, she was a completely different person. And parents don't realize, and sometimes it's not the parents' like fault, because you know the like world that we're in, it's expensive. So you could be on like one job, by the time you come home change and you're like at another job, your kid has already come home from school, gone home, got changed and is back out. You're there thinking, oh, they must be at home doing schoolwork, because you're just quickly texting them like, you're right. They're like, yeah, I'm cool, I'm just at home. They're not at home, but you don't know that because you're at work, and it's not your fault. Do you know what I mean? Everyone has like bills to pay and whatever, but there needs to be a level of, I believe, like trust between a parent and a kid. Do you know what I mean? Because kids will hide stuff. Kids will lie. Adults do it. They lie. They don't tell the truth. Do you know what I mean? And then it's like they get themselves into situations and then can't get themselves out. Don't want to ask like you for help because they're thinking, oh, you know what I mean? I haven't even told my mum or dad this, that, and the other, and I know how they've, and then they're gonna like react, being angry and just shout at me and whatever. But if you didn't and you just heard what they had to say and tried to help them, do you know what I mean? It would be different. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, you need to realize certain things. So if your kid's coming home and you know you haven't given them any money all month, but they have the freshest pair of trainers on, they got a tracksuit and whatever, well, ask them where they got that from. And it's okay to ask them, where did you get that? Do you know what I mean? Because when they're stuttering and, well, all right, where did you get it from? Do you know what I mean? Like, don't ever feel like you can't answer your kids shit. Like, at the end of the day, they came from you, innit? Do you know what I mean? If anyone is taking like my child's life, best believe it's gonna be me. Like, it's not gonna be nobody else. My kid came from me, and yeah, trust me, I will end his life. That I will. Not no boy on the street who comes from CRO, because I'm in CR2. Like, he didn't choose to live here. Do you know what I mean? I did. I did. He didn't choose to go to that school. I picked that school because it's close to where I live. Did you know what I mean? And I'm expecting him to be home at a certain time, but he's going to get caught up in what his friends are doing because he wants to be cool and he doesn't want to be picked on and stuff like that. But sometimes just come home. Sometimes just have your head in a book. Do you know what I mean? It's
They've
hard.
got some really good apps, actually, Milan. There's some apps that you can download onto your phone and your child's phone. So I did one of those with my eldest son when he started going out. It was called Life 360, so that I could see where he was. So if there was ever a problem and he couldn't speak, he could just phone me and I could have a look on the app to see where he is exactly and get to him as quick as I can.
Oh, well, my kid's 5. He ain't got a phone at the minute, but he knows already. Like,
when he starts going out without you, you'll have that app on your phone.
No, trust me. Like, he already knows. Like, and this is what I mean. My son is only 5, and from now, I have to install things into his head that, because if we go out now, if he sees a policeman, a police car, he's so excited. He's like, oh my God. And he wants to say hi and, oh, Mum, I want a picture. Don't worry, in a couple of years, his whole perspective on that, it will change. And it's really sad that it's going to change. And it's really sad that, do you know what I mean? The police are not going to see him anymore as a little kid running up to the car and being like, hi. Do you know what I mean? Because when he does that, in my head, I'm thinking like, don't fucking say hi to them. But I can't say that. I just got to be like, yeah, hi. Keep moving, like, keep stepping. Do you know what I mean? So there's certain things that I have to install into him now.
Hopefully by the time that he gets big, there's police from there's people that are more from South London that are police in South London. Hopefully it's more community. Like, hopefully the police reflect the community a bit more by then. Do you know what I'm saying? Because obviously right now, that's the main issue. The people that are policing the community are probably not from the community, never really been in that kind of environment, don't respect the people from that environment, only like have that stereotype more than the average person. You get what I'm saying? Because they're from County Durham.
This is the thing though, you as a police officer, you can't police your own area. You have to police outside of your area, which doesn't help.
Their own area, but I think people should have an understanding of that. Do you know what I'm saying?
Oh, of course,
you should be from a multicultural city to police a multicultural city. You can't be like from I'm not saying you can't be, but I think the majority of the people policing the community should at least understand the community to some degree. It shouldn't be people that's like from way out of the ends, never seen black people, don't know no black people. Like the only black person they've ever seen was Gus on EastEnders. Do you get me? And then they come to try to police the man. You know what I'm saying?
Like, Gus.
The thing is though, on the news, I don't watch the news often because I think they just chat shit. But on the news a couple of weeks ago, I don't know, like I said, I don't watch it often, so I don't know the guy's name. But a black guy, I'm sure he was from North London, don't quote me on it, but he was stopped and searched, and they didn't have a reason to stop him, they just stopped him. And he literally said to the officers who stopped him, remember me and remember my face, because I'm going to come and educate you on why this is wrong. And they were like, yeah, cool, like whatever. And literally a couple of months later, he was in the Metropolitan Police Office down in London on the embankment thing. He was in there literally giving a whole lecture and a speech to police officers and the top govs in in London and the surrounding areas, explaining to them what they had done wrong, what their powers, how they're abusing their powers. And he spoke to them for a bit, then he paused and he was like, right, I want to know what your initial thoughts were as me coming in the room, and what your first impressions was of me. And literally no one spoke. Everyone was like, because they all knew what they was about to say, but he had just proved everybody wrong. But one guy, a white guy, he was from somewhere in London, like Croydon or whatever, and he spoke up and he was like, although I'm a police officer and I'm dressed like this, he goes, I'm from the end. He was like, so you coming in? I was just like, all right, cool. I'm coming here to hear what he has to say. He was like, I didn't think. And then because he spoke, somebody else spoke, and they was like, you know, I'm not from this type of area, and when you walked in the room I did feel a bit intimidated, and the tone of your voice. And it was like, what do you mean the tone in his voice? He's a man. What, you wanted him to come in and go, hi, excuse me, do you know what I mean? Like, he's not going to talk like that. He's going to have a deep voice. Why did that make you feel intimidated when you're at your place of work, like your main head office, the Metropolitan Police, where the thing spins around, like in Scotland Yard? You're sitting there, your main office. People have given him a visitor's pass, let him in the building to talk to you and educate you, and you still felt intimidated by this guy. Yeah, I turned off the news. So I don't know what happened after that, because I got pissed off. But if you can find it somewhere, then it's a very interesting watch. And whatever the guy's name is, big him up. as well. I don't know what it is. Just saying.
Can I say two things then? Oh, go on. Go, Shay, you go first. Go.
Yeah, I was just going to say quickly, I think the difficult thing is like a lot of people, they don't have like they don't have that support at home. So that's the reason why a lot of people are, you know, out on the streets or, you know, just doing what they do anyway, because they don't have that support at home or because of their environment or whatever. And like my friend, he was killed and he got stabbed, and you know, he didn't have like a family support system. So, you know, it's not always as easy as just saying, you know, us as parents need to do something. It's about the communities themselves as well, because a lot of people are, from a young age, they have to go out on their own and just, you know, live their own life. They don't have that family at home. They don't have like a lot of support. So I think it's just important us as communities help to, you know, like you were, I think Ashley was saying, to educate people more and just, you know, make sure that they're aware of being street smart and, you know, things they can do to improve themselves and, you know, maybe even work in their communities themselves, that kind of stuff. Because, you know, a lot of people just think there's only one way to live life. And yeah, I just think there's more to life than that.
Sadly, they've cut a lot of funding though. I mean, obviously when I was growing up, there were youth clubs. You know, you used to see some of the staff members walking the streets, patrolling the streets just to go and check out the groups that were hanging around the shop to see if they were okay. Why hadn't they come in to say hi and checked into the youth clubs? And, you know, there was a lot more support years ago, but now they've cut all the funding and they're not being looked after the same way. So it is down to the elder peers in the community to lead, you know, to sort of give the youngsters somebody to look up to, somebody to speak. Like Ashley was saying earlier on, you know, he's got their backs and he's there checking in on them. It's so important to educate and support them. You know, it doesn't have to be a paid job. It's just about caring. Like they say, it takes a village to raise a child. It does. It really does. Everybody needs to stick together and look after each other.
Yeah, I agree. I was going to say something. So, you know, when Milan started speaking, she said about knowing your kids and what they're doing, or maybe some people don't know their kids, right? There was a story, I think, a kid in Kennington, I think he got killed. It was about 15 years ago, give or take, right? And I remember his dad was saying, you know, my son was a good kid, going to church and what have you. And maybe like a few weeks later, they found a picture of his son holding a shotgun. And he was like, I never knew my son was like this, X, Y, and Z. So what Milan was saying is a very good point. Sometimes parents don't know what their kids are up to. And as parents, we need to be closer to our kids. Yeah, I mean, we need to be up their asses, man, to be fair, to be quite frank, because the world's changed. When we were growing up, I mean, all of us are 28 plus, I think. When we were in school, it wasn't social media, for example. In fact, when I was in school, we had Motorola phones. We didn't have smartphones, you see what I'm saying? So things have changed. So it means about our kids' asses. But I was going to ask something else. So in fact, before I do, Simba says they don't have the community's best interest at all, going back to what Ashley was saying. And Simba Boy says condolences to share as well. But I want to ask a question. You know, you guys have been talking a lot about racial profiling. That's what it comes down to, isn't it? In terms of how people are dressed. And Ashley was saying about people who might have a body warmer on a bag and what have you, right? But we're almost saying that they shouldn't dress like that. And again, we know that by being dressed like that, they're going to be targeted. But that's no different to a woman being sexually assaulted and us saying, well, what was she wearing? She's allowed to wear a short skirt, walk in her birthday suit she wants to. It's not for anyone to say that she shouldn't be dressed like that. How could you imagine? It's like that same sort of concept.
Of course,
what was she wearing? Do you know what I mean?
But sticky. I get that as you not being able to tell a big woman you can't wear that because a big man shouldn't touch you. That's different. It's not the same. Because you think about it like this, yes, I'm not talking about as a man telling a man. I'm talking about as a parent telling your child, yeah? Because if your daughter decides to go and put on a thong and step outside, you're going to drag her by her neck back and say, yo, go back inside and change that. You get what I'm saying? You're not going to tell your cousin or your auntie, okay, cousin, auntie, you want to do that? That's your business. Like I wouldn't tell my uncle he can't wear a hoodie and wear 7 bandanas and a balaclava. I'm not going to tell my uncle that, but I'm going to tell my son that because I care about their best interests. I'm not telling you what the world shouldn't be doing to you. I'm trying to tell you what the world will do to you. So please, for my sake, because I care about you, can you please not wear that because I don't want them to target you. Please. You don't have to because it's your right to wear them. If you care about your child, why wouldn't you give your child the best advice? You get what I'm saying? It's the same. You're not going to make your daughter go out looking mad because you are going to be worried for her safety. You get what I'm saying? And if you're worried about your son's safety, you should do the same thing. That's what I'm saying.
Do you know what? I agree with you 100%, right? But I think with kids, depending on their age, again, it's all relative. It's all context, isn't it? So it depends on the ages as well. But if you imagine being a 17-year-old young man, because at 17, we all thought we were big people, right? Just to be fair. And our parents thought we were still kids, right? But at 17, we all thought we were big people. We thought we were grown. But imagine someone trying to tell you that you shouldn't wear something at 17. You ain't really want to hear that. If everyone else is wearing the latest Nike tracksuit or I would not be worrying these days, but latest
but then this is where the education comes in. So you can say to them, you know, I would rather you didn't wear that because give them the explanation. You know, you don't need to waffle on about it, but give them the explanation. If they're like, oh, whatever, kissing their teeth, I'm going to wear that, then educate them to, if they, like earlier when like Ashley was saying, if you do get stopped and searched or whatever, or if a situation is going on, walk away. If you do get stopped and searched, there's only a certain amount of things they can do to you for the reason that you're being stopped and searched for. If it goes past that, then you know that you can move on because they don't have a reason to stop and search you. Do you know what I mean? So it comes hand in hand. So it obviously, as you said, people are wearing the latest tracksuits. They're going to have their little like man pouches on. They're going to have their gloves on and be doing poses and whatever. Cool. If you want to do that, you need to learn and educate yourself on what the like authorities can and can't do to you. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but what that is more to do with afterwards, isn't it? So what Ashley was saying originally was prevention. So yes, knowing your rights is what happens once you're stopped and searched, isn't it? But what Ashley's saying is to put yourself in the position that you're not stopped and searched in the first place. But what I'm saying is, if you're a 17-year-old young man or 17-year-old young girl, girls, think about what you were doing at 17. You might have had your hair pasted down to the side with that gel crap on it. You know what I mean? But imagine being 17 and someone telling you not to wear something or not to dress a certain way when everyone else is doing it. It's like the thing at the time, innit? All your friends are wearing Nike tracksuits, or all your friends are wearing, what did girls used to wear back in the day? Pedal pushers. I don't know, man. I'm showing my age now, innit?
Pedal pushers.
Bandanas.
I used to.
But
It's
you
exactly the
it's hard
eyebrow.
to try and deter someone of that sort of age group if they're dressing like everyone else is dressing. But again, we're all close to 30 or past.
I don't think it necessarily all work here. I don't think they're necessarily going to listen here. But it's just you should be saying the right things, isn't it? Giving good advice doesn't mean that the person is always going to take it because your kid might just put it on at their brethren's house. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
but what I'm saying is this, though. Hindsight, innit? They're going to realise when they realise, innit? But if you never tell them, they'll never realise, innit? So, whatever, innit? You get me? I'm not saying that you get to a point where you're like, raw, you know what? What my mum said kind of made sense. Do you get me? You get to a point where you understand why they said it, innit? If you never get it told to you, imagine you're never going to get to a point where you're like, well, you know what? That makes sense. I get why they told me not to do that shit. You know what I'm saying? So, or you're going to have to feel so many times, you're going to end up like, you get me? You're going to have to feel from that action so many times before you learn the lesson, innit? Maybe if someone tells you not to do it, you're going to have to only feel twice. Who knows? You know what I'm saying?
I just remembered.
Hold on. I'm going to restart the live, yeah? Because the live is now finished. It's been an hour, so give me 1 second. Keep talking if you want. I'm just going to restart the live, so give me 1 second.
I was just going to say, just jog my memory. There was a boy that I was in school with, obviously when he was older. He had a turban, and he was asked to remove his turban.
Yes.
In public, and he was so angry and so upset because obviously for religious reasons, he shouldn't take the turban off in public, you know, but it's part of his religion and his culture. And that was I remember that happening. And they're not supposed to do that, so they were in the wrong. Police were in the wrong.
That's disgusting.
I know that was a stop and search, that was as well.
I remember that. I remember hearing about that. Absolutely disgusting. So bad. Oh, I don't know, guys. Oh, fucking long.
I've been stopped and searched, but it was in the airport, and I kind of just accepted it because I thought, oh, this is the kind of thing they do in the airport anyway. You know, it's fine. They're checking everybody.
In the airport. Oh, they're absolutely in the airport.
Why did you just pull me? You know, and they were asking. I was going to Spain at the time, but I think my name just didn't match the way I looked. That was the perception they gave. They gave was that they thought that I was actually Spanish, but I was coming from where, and they were trying to work it out.
Please don't stop and search me no more, man. I actually enjoy it too much. I give them a hard time. I make them do their job for it. Good. You know what? They look at me just like, forget, I'm slow.
No, but it's so good, Ash, that, I'd like to think that there are more men that are doing the same thing as you as well, looking after the youngsters and educating them, because it's so important, it's crucial. And you want them to be free.
I was with my little brother, yeah, and we even got stopped by police, yeah, and he's like, they can't search you, innit? You're a passenger. I'm like, oh yeah. You get me? And sat there like, oh yeah. You get me? Because it's a traffic stop. And if you get me, so he's aware that if it's a traffic stop, they can only stop the driver, so they can only talk to the driver. They can't stop any of the passengers. So man had nothing to worry about. You get what I'm saying? And truth be told, they didn't search, man. They didn't say nothing to that. They did the traffic stop. You get what I'm saying? Like, so if you know your thing, you'll be all right in it. Not all the time, obviously. Some friends are pricks in it, but generally, if you know your thing.
So we're back on the live, yeah? It's back live.
Hey.
Are we moving on to the next topic now?
Yeah,
We can do, it was homeschooling, right? I believe next topic.
That was together.
You know what?
Together.
Can I just say, yeah, one of my children told me a joke, yeah, the other day. Why did the cow? I think I told Ashley. Why did the cow cross the road?
Why?
Because he wanted to move on. No, listen, it made my whole day. I said, that's not fuck, that was wicked. Sorry, that just reminded me of it.
So cute.
Wait, hold on, pause. One of your children?
Yeah, one of my kids in working in a nursery.
Oh, I was like, hold on. I saw you got a daughter. I'm like, children.
I adopted them all. They're all my kids.
She's got some secret kids.
Got bare kids.
She got another 3 tomorrow when I ship mine over.
Send them.
Just so you know. So what's the next topic, guys?
So the next topic is Nick Cannon. So for those who don't know, Nick Cannon was fired this week from Wilding Out. So Cher, I know you are like the person who's in the know of these sort of things. Want to kick us off? Let us know what's going on.
Yeah, so Nick Cannon must have said something about white supremacy and, Jewish people, and basically said that they were like originally savages and animals. But the way he explained it was like, I thought it was, the way he explained it was like from an educated point of view. So it wasn't something that was offensive. He was just stating facts. But then obviously like a lot of people got onto him about it, mostly the Jewish community. And yeah, and then he got fired as well. He got fired and they completely cut Wilding Out. So I thought that was really unfair. I thought that was really unfair of them to do that. And he actually put out an apology as well about it. Like a lot of people were saying, because they were saying to apologize. And first of all, he said he's not going to apologize. A lot of people saying you shouldn't apologize for, mentioning white supremacy and stuff. And he was like saying he's not going to apologize. And then eventually he apologized. I was like, wow, okay. But you know, he's got an interview with some Jewish guy coming up. So I'm guessing it's probably connected to that because it's on his channel. So just have to wait and see. But I just think it's really bad how Black people are not allowed to address white supremacy and, you know, who's in control and stuff in their own way. But it's okay to, you know, put out the killing of a Black man as much as you want. Do you know what I mean? And seeing it all over your social media, but you can't speak freely about certain things. It just really blows my mind. But
You can't speak freely about Jewish people, to be more specific.
Yeah, Jewish people, white supremacy, all of it. And it really bugs me because, like, he's bringing out the documentary based around Dr. Sebi and, you know, the one that Nipsey Hussle was meant to bring out.
Yeah.
And it just feels like, to me, that is connected to that, because that is a big thing. Like, this guy has cured people of cancer, AIDS, all types of different stuff. And, you know, he was always overlooked by people, even went to court about it. People think the police killed him. And, you know, Nipsey Hussle was going to put out a documentary about him. Nipsey Hussle got killed. And then, you know, Nick Cannon said he's going to put it out. All of a sudden, everything's like going wrong for him and stuff. So I just hope that this documentary comes out because I really want to see it.
So correct. And the thing is, it's factual. It's not even opinion, is it? You know, the things that he stated are factual. And this is why, this is what's been going on for centuries. You know, people are being shut down and they're hushed, you know, they shut them down before the truth comes out. But thank God for social media now, because the truth is leaking. You know, we are getting to see and hear the facts through social media platforms.
Yeah.
So we are lucky, really, in a sense.
Yeah, I just think it's funny that, obviously, first of all, I'm upset because Wild 'N Out is probably like the only thing I watch on YouTube. You get me? Like, I can watch that literally, fam, like 8 hours a day. You get me? Straight run through. So I'll be pissed if they actually take that off YouTube. You get me? But I think it's hilarious that everything that Black people say gets kind of like discredited or made to look like it's a conspiracy theory rather than historical facts. You get me? Because there's no way like that people that we're gonna be aware of all of this knowledge, have all this information, understand geography, understand history, and not get to a point where we understand that Hebrews or Israelites were African people or Black people. We're obviously going to get to a point in education where we clock that. Do you get what I'm saying? So how now do you want us to know that and not talk about it? Do you get what I'm saying? And not only on a surface level, like the man them talking about it, because there's a whole group of Black Israelites and Hebrews in America and over the world. Like, you get what I'm saying? And then even in Israel, there's the Ethiopian Israelites. You get what I'm saying? Like, that are clearly historically descendants of Hebrew people. You get what I'm saying? Like, it's not even argued or or what's the word? Basically, it's not like discredited. Like, these men were let into Israel. They were allowed to be, they were allowed to live in Israel. They were allowed to become citizens of Israel. Yeah, and they're Black and they're from Ethiopia. You know what I'm saying? Because these people are descendants of real Jews and Hebrew Israelites, and people know that. So, like, that means that these people who say that they're Jews now, obviously, if they must have done it at a certain point in history. You get what I'm saying? It's not like a disrespectful thing. It's not like a rude thing. is something that's obviously the truth, and it's something they had to come a point where these people took over the religion and became the people who are calling themselves Jews. Obviously, you get me? Do you expect us not to say it because it's clear evidence, it's history, it's there to be seen, it's there to read. Like, why are you getting mad at a man for saying something? I get it, like, people can get offended by things, especially if you're using words like savages and barbaric or whatever, yeah. But people have been calling black people barbaric and savages since I was a kid. You get what I'm saying? Like, we've had to bear so much negative connotations just on our history, just based on what we're taught in school, what they show in films. Like, deep it, like, there's so many slave films, yeah, but there's no Holocaust film, like, not no Holocaust films, but there's not like as many Holocaust films as you see slave films. You know what I'm saying? Because it's okay to see black people going through pain and suffering. Even when I check it, like, when it comes to these statues and all of these things that are getting pulled down, and people are like, why are you pulling down these statues? Think about it like this, yeah. If there was a statue of Hitler, fam, if there was a statue of Hitler, no one would celebrate that. Do you get it? People would feel like that's a problem. People want to come down. Like, no one would celebrate a statue of Hitler. And if people celebrated a statue of Hitler or celebrated the history of that Hitler had, we would consider them fascists, Nazis, yeah? So, but it's different now if it's British history that is the same as Hitler. These men did the same things as Hitler. The only difference is they did it to black people, not white people, because that's what Jews are. Yeah, Jews are white people. You get me? Because there's no way you can tell a Jew necessarily unless you know their surname or unless they tell you I'm Jewish. So you get me? You're just going to think they're just the same as, you know what I'm saying? You're European, yeah? But these people will put statues up of people that the same thing Hitler did, you understand? And celebrate it. Yeah, celebrate their history and celebrate their legacy. But we're not allowed to consider them fascists, or we're not allowed to consider them Nazis or racists. Doesn't make sense. Do you get what I'm saying? So my thing is that stop looking for people to give us credit for things that we already know, innit? The whole point is their whole system was built on not letting us know this information or trying to hide this information from us. So now we are aware of it and now we're talking about it. They're not going to give us credit for it. Do you get what I'm saying? They're going to do everything they can to make us look like we're either crazy, wrong, racist, or delusional. Do you feel me? Or aggressive, yeah.
Can I just ask why all of a sudden Nick Cannon decided to speak out, or was there a reason behind it why this all came out?
So basically, it's not even about Nick Cannon, if I'm honest there. It's about Louis Farrakhan, yeah? Louis Farrakhan is like, obviously Nation of Islam, but he's also like a black leader in America in terms of educating black people. Do you feel me? So a lot of rich, powerful black people follow him and like watch him, go to his speeches and all of that kind of stuff. And Nick Cannon's been supporting him a lot recently. You feel me? And he's someone who's vocal about Jewish people and their aim to make black people not know who they are. You know what I'm saying? That's basically. So they kind of look at it as hate speech, but he's saying basically what he said that made people really think, yeah, was this. He said they're calling me anti-Semite, yeah, which means to be against Jews, yeah. But it doesn't actually mean to be against Jews, it means to be against Semitic people, yeah? But he's saying, I can't be an anti-Semite because Semitic people are not you guys. You guys are not Semitic people. So you're saying I'm against you. You're saying I'm against Semitic people when my people are really Semitic people. Semitic is an Arabic word, isn't it? So you're saying that Semitic people are my people, not you guys. So I can't be anti-Semitic. And that's what kind of got them pissed off, innit? You get what I'm saying? Because not only are you saying, because he wasn't saying I don't hate you guys. He was just saying, you guys are using the wrong language. So it's basically like educating them while telling them I don't fuck with you, but you guys are using the wrong word because you're not even the people that you're pretending to be, basically. You know what I'm saying? It's a deeper thing still.
There's definitely a lot of stuff in it. There's definitely a lot of things to take away from that. And those who missed any of it, that's watching on Instagram Live, this will be up on YouTube, so you can actually go back over what Ashley just talked about. There's a lot of things in there. Just to clarify one point though, in terms of Wilding Out, I don't think Wilding Out has been cancelled. I just think that Nick Cannon's not going to be hosting one, and I think it will still be aired, if I'm not mistaken. Chids, what's your views on all this?
I haven't really been catching up on this one, really, to be honest. But yeah, I just think whenever a black person speaks out about things that, you know, possibly, most probably have some truth in them, it's always looked upon negatively. People are not actually listening to what he's saying. They're just saying it's just a black man speaking against something, so it's just a reason to attack him, you know. And I just think it just proves that black people have never had a voice. They will never be given a voice, and when they are given a voice, it's used against them. So how can we ever win? It's not even about winning, it's just about being heard and being equal. But I just don't think that's ever going to happen. Never, because the powers that be are always against us. Anything. It just takes one person to make a complaint, or one person to be against what the black person has said, and it's like, oh, it's all mad. I reckon if a white person said it, would have been totally different.
Do you know what? I think on that, I think you made a good point there. And I think even going back to what you were saying about the statues, right? So check this. It's really weird, isn't it, when you think that all these statues, half of them I never even existed. Even if there's a statue of some guy up the road, I would not have known. I'd have driven past it 100 times and never know it's there, right? And if they just removed it quietly, people wouldn't even been none the wiser either. But because it was like a big thing in the media, they're taking on this person's statue because he was a slave owner and stuff like that. All these other bozos are coming to save the statues. And these guys are so thick, right? You see some of them making Nazi signs. Hang on a minute, let me get this straight. You're making Nazi signs trying to protect the statue, but you're for Churchill. Like, these people have absolutely no sense, like zero sense.
Yeah, but in that circumstance, it does make sense, because that's what they're being. They're being Nazi, fascist, racist. It's the same. And I'm glad that they did that, because it shows what it really is. Because if you're in support of it, that means you are the same as someone who's in support of Hitler. That's the facts, isn't it? And people don't want to hear that, but that's what it is. If you're in support of a statue of someone who, because look at it, anti-Semitism is something a word that is separate from racism, you know. Like, that's saying racist to a specific group. You get me? Like, they got their own word for racism, bro. Yeah? You could never, ever put up a fucking statue of Hitler nowhere on this earth, bro. Yeah? And let people know it's there. You're mad. It won't happen, fam. Can't happen. But they got thousands of statues of people that killed bare black people, fam. And the fact of it is, like you said, the reason why it can run is for two reasons. Yeah? One, because we don't know nothing about the statue. Like you said, I didn't know who that motherfucker was. I didn't care. I saw that statue every day. I didn't mean nothing. So one, because we don't know our history. And two, because we don't care about our history. You feel me? That's why they can do it. Jewish people, they care, man. They care, bro. You know what I'm saying? They're like, nah, bro. Like, they're not going to let it slide, fam. Do you get me? Like, they care about what's happened. That is the most significant part of their history. Do you understand? Like, before that, they were living good. After that, they're living good. That is the most significant part of their history. And we know about that more than we know about our own history.
Agreed. But what I mean about the statues and the Nazi signs were that those same people making Nazi signs were here to protect Churchill's statue. It doesn't make any sense. You're here to protect Churchill's statue, but you're making Nazi signs. It makes absolutely zero sense. And these guys got no sense anyway. Milan, what's your thoughts? You've been very quiet over there. Our very own...
No, so with me, we all know Milan. Milan's not. I'm not going to say I'm not educated, but you know, my words don't stretch very far. So basically, picking up on the Nick Cannon thing, it's not that what he said, and when I say this, don't think I'm crazy. So what he said, it's not that he was offending people. It's that, so basically the world is run, same thing, by an elite circle of people. An elite circle of people. Like in England, you may think that it's the Queen and the government. No. Like it's Rupert Murdoch. Trust me, believe me, he runs England, innit? Like certain things can get put out in the media because he has said it can. There are certain things happening that he has said it can run like that because he is part of this elite circle. So when Nick Cannon, what Ashley said, that guy who speaks out about, you know, the history of black people and is educating black people and is educating the rich black people, because the elite circle has allowed him to, and it's okay for him to talk about it. You see, if somebody else comes out and they start, well, oh yeah, I've learned this, that, and the other, because the poorer people are now hearing about this, we're now tapping into our history and we want to find out like more, and we want to know this, that, and the other. We can't know that, yeah? We can't know that because we are not allowed to know that. It's like in school, you learn about the Nazis and what happened, that you learn about certain parts of history. Not because a school government board has said, this is what we should learn about. No. The elite circle has said, black people can't know their history. Black people can't, yeah? So when you start tapping into that and you start learning certain things and you start realizing like, oh, hold on, you know, you're on London on one of them open bus tours and they're pointing at this statue and this is blah, 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 and he conquered this land and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, go research him because he was probably running on his horse, slitting off everybody's heads. Do you know what I mean? So, but where we're about black people and black lives, black countries, we're only taught like literally this much of our history. Everybody else, you're basically taught everything. Do you know what I mean? So when we are going past on a bus or you're in the like a history museum and you're staring at a poster, you don't really know what you're staring at. You're just staring at a white man with a sword in his hand and a hat, and you're just like, okay, cool, and you walk past it because we haven't learned about the history behind that. Why? Because they don't want us to know about it, because the elite circle of people have said, no, it's not happening. It's not happening. So you see, like, when people then start, when the lower class people start talking about it, funny things will happen. You know, people start dying. All of a sudden, they're like bankrupt, but they had millions in their account. How are they bankrupt? Do you know what I mean? They haven't bought nothing, they haven't spent nothing. Now they're bankrupt, or they lose their house, or all of a sudden they've got cancer or something and they're dying and they're on their deathbed. Yeah, because the elite circle was like, that person has to go, because they're educating the smaller people and the people in the lower class about stuff that they cannot know about. Like, you lot might be sitting there thinking, this girl's chatting shit, this girl's crazy. No, the documentary that like Nipsey Hussle was doing, and now Nick Cannon's doing, obviously now he might or may not, like may or may not. It will end up on YouTube at a point, but believe me, and I could bet my life savings on this, believe me, every 2 to 3 days, it's going to be taken down. It will then get put back up and it will get taken down because we can't know about certain things. I don't know why we can't, you know, because let me not, you know, if I say something, you know, next thing, I might not be here next week. Do you know what I mean?
They want us to be dumb.
There was saying that, right?
That we just can't know about.
Saying that, please be careful what you say, because I don't want anyone taking me out. I don't want anyone taking us down. Like,
let me
please,
say from now, I am not suicidal. I got money in my bank, and I'm alive. I'm breathing. I got a pulse. Just put that. I don't know Miss Milan. There's no affiliation between us. Okay, look, it's all her, right? Not me. So put that out there. Have a look in my DMs. That's all I'm saying.
You just threw her right in the best stick.
But you know, they're scared of the majority doing some stuff. Like, because look what happened. People started learning about shit, and then a couple of days later, people are dragging down their ass like factories themselves. You get me? And that's them in the river and that. And then you get me. People are coming and putting the black man with the fist to replace it just to take the piss. You know what I'm saying? So a lot can happen. A lot can happen when the majority learn information that gets them going. You feel me?
They don't want us to know those things though, because if we do, we the mentality is it's like taking back my power then, because it was mine to begin with. So yeah. I'm going to put that back out there. So.
Yeah, they've spoon-fed us for centuries, you know, and we've just taken it all in. You know, what they say goes, and we're controlled. We've been controlled for forever. And now we're starting to uprise and revolt and speak out, and because we are becoming more educated. There's more facts coming through, and we're becoming stronger. They don't want them.
Because as well, think about it, especially in America, they bang on about the freedom of speech, the freedom of speech. Nick Cannon just had the freedom of speech. He didn't, and you know what I mean? He was discussing an issue. And now look, they've cancelled him. What for? What has he done? He hasn't done anything.
Thought he had the freedom.
Yeah, but this is what I'm saying. This is like the Farrakhan thing. Yeah, you have to look at it for what it is. Yeah, because even because he did a speech on the 4th of July, and he was meant to have it on different networks, and obviously the pressure of the Jews made them cancel it, innit? Different networks and say, no, we're not going to post it, we're not going to stream it, you feel me? Because obviously they don't want the pressure of their Jewish bosses to, you know me? But then who streamed it? P. Diddy streamed it. P. Diddy's like, I ain't got no Jewish boss, I just do my own thing, cause you get me? I own my own shit, I own my own channel, you get me? I'm Diddy shit, fam, I'll post Farrakhan. So Diddy posted Farrakhan, can't cancel Diddy, because at the end of the day, you got nothing to fire him from, fam. Do you know what I'm saying? And that's what it is. Obviously, if you're working for somebody, you have to respect their opinion. You understand? And that's just how business works. And if you're working for somebody, you have to respect their opinion. Diddy's like, bro, I don't work for no one, bro. I work for myself, so I can post my man. He even posted a thing where he said to Nick Cannon, like, bro, come over here, bro. Come home, fam. You get me? Come and put your show on my channel, fam. We own everything over here, because you get me. And he posted that the same day or the next day, just to let him know, like, raw, like, the only reason why this is a problem is because the people who are your bosses don't share the same opinion. You get what I'm saying? So that's what it is, bro. If you don't want to be told what to do, then you have to own your own shit. You get me? But if the people who are investing in you, or people who are giving you the money, or the people who are paying your wages are from a certain background, they have to respect what you say in it, or fuck the check. You get me?
Sure. What's your views on that one?
Yeah, I agree. I 100% agree. I think you're more free when you have your own, innit? So if you're working for companies and stuff, you're never going to be able to express yourself how you want to. Obviously, there'll still be people who, you know, say you're wrong or whatever, but that's just life. But for you to feel free in yourself, I feel like you need to separate yourself from those type of organizations. And if you haven't watched it, watch Hidden Colors. Like, there's a few DVDs and based around that, which is basically tells you everything hidden about Black history, which is really good.
Okay, there's a lot going on there, man. All good points. Now, did you give your views? Forgive me if you did. Apologies.
I did, yeah. Not too much. I just think, you know, like you said earlier on, it's all about freedom of speech, but we're not free to speak. We're controlled, and I don't think that we're ever going to be able to completely voice our opinions or even facts.
True.
And money speaks volumes. Money speaks, you know, with like Nick Cannon now, he's going to be replaced. Maybe that was the plan. Maybe they stitched him up. Maybe they set him up so they could get him out and put somebody else in. I don't know.
Or as Ashley said, you can't give your opinion freely unless your employer agrees with you, right? As Ashley says, a good point. What are you saying, Chids?
I remember. What was I
I'm
going
sorry.
to say? No, I can't remember. You threw me off, Stick. It's all right, though.
I'm so sorry. It wasn't intentional. Let's talk about how you were dressed today, then. How about that? Should we go to that? I'm joking. I'm playing. I'm joking.
I was going to tell you as well.
No, we'll do it afterwards.
I like how he said I'm playing because I was trying to unmute myself because I was going to comment underneath it, and I thought, let me not even bring heat to it. Let me just.
Yeah, I'm playing. Yeah, we'll do it afterwards once we stop recording. Okay.
That's after hours.
You know what I'm saying? In saying that it is 20 to 12, so we've got 20 minutes left. Should we go on to the third topic? Yeah. So I think the third topic was Wayfair. Milan, do you want to give us the roundup on Wayfair, what that's all about?
Yeah, so Wayfair, it literally goes back to what I was just talking about, the elite circle. Like I said, in England, obviously I live in England, I know for England, I don't know about any other countries, but for England, Rupert Murdoch runs shit, yeah? So Wayfair is a furniture company who promotes itself for selling like expensive looking furniture for a cheap price. So, you know, all their stuff apparently is reasonably priced. But then some people was clocking that certain cabinets that they was selling and advertising on the website, one, were very, 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 very expensive. And I mean like millions. They was up for millions. And people were like, what the hell? Then they realised the names of the cabinets were of like missing children or children in the system. So people are like, why are they named that? And why are they sold for like millions? So then there was a whole, I don't even want to say conspiracy theory because that word came about like in the 50s, 60s to cover up shit as well. So, but for now, we'll go with it. So there's this conspiracy theory going around that you're not buying the cabinet. Well, you get the cabinet, but inside the cabinet is the child, which has the certain name. So for instance, if there was a cabinet called Anna will be in the cabinet that you're paying like millions for. And it's part of the child sex trafficking world, because that's a thing and the government know about it. The top people know about it because it's the top people who are buying these kids and they are doing some disgusting and some horrible things to them. It's the top people that are doing it. So that came up in the news this week. Wayfair then came out and said, this is the excuse, that the names for the high-priced cabinets came from an algorithm. That's the one. Came from an algorithm.
Fuckers.
What fucking bullshit is that? Because when I go on there to buy like a £300 cabinet, it's not a child's name. It's not like a little girl's name. It's just a cabinet for 300 and something pound, or it's a colour or something. Do you know what I mean? There's not cabinets that was boys. There's no boys' names. It's just all girls who happen to be either missing, part of the system, and nobody would ever have known because, you know, again, us poorer people, us smaller people would never have known about it, because why are we looking for a cabinet that cost £1 million? We're not. Do you know what I mean? You're gonna, as soon as you're on the website, you go into filter and you're gonna put between 0 and 100. That's all you're looking at, because you're like, if a cabinet, I'm not spending like more than £100 on a cabinet. And they also said, apart from the algorithms, that they also supply to like big businesses, so they will buy like a bulk stock, basically. But that doesn't make sense, because one cabinet should not be over £1 million. Obviously, if you put like 600 cabinets in, then, you know, maybe you'll get into the thousands, but you would never be in the millions. Do you know what I mean? Even if you're, I don't even know what company would want to buy cabinets, like a housing company, like the council, and they have them like filing drawers or whatever. You wouldn't be spending £1 million on cabinets. Do you know what I mean? It wouldn't get to that, even if you bought like 1,000 of them. Do you know what I mean? It just wouldn't get there. And that's what their excuse was. And that's what the thing is, I don't even think it's getting like looked into. It popped up on the news, and as quick as it popped up, it's going to pop back down. The same as like Hillary Clinton deleting off her emails from all of these kids that she was abusing. well, that was in the news for what? An hour, and then it was back to corona, and the numbers are going down, but they still can't open places. And do you know what I mean?
This is the thing, they do it it's to distract us, because nobody wants to speak about it. It's, you know, it's something that I would never really want to speak about, but I think we need to speak about it. There needs to be an awareness of these things are actually happening. Children are getting kidnapped and taken, and all sorts of things are happening to these children, and nobody is talking about it. No one is doing anything about it, and I just fully believe it's at the hands of the powers that be. They're the ones who they think they are invincible. They think they can do whatever they like and get away with it. Look how many thousands of children go missing on a yearly basis, and no one talks about it. No one says about the numbers. They're quick enough to every single day put in the news of how many cases of coronavirus. Have you seen that thing where you could just put in like 213 or 666 or 444 in Google, and it will tell you how many cases of coronavirus have come up? But there's nothing to tell us the statistics and the numbers of how many children go missing. Like even in the UK, there's hundreds of children that just go missing and ain't found again, but no one talks about it. It's not on the news, nothing. It's terrible.
Trust me, when my son was, how old? I don't even think he was 1. I went to Asda, and I was doing like a late night shop, and you know, when you don't really think about it. He was strapped up in the trolley, and I'm pushing the trolley, and I've left him here, and I've took 2 steps, and I've got crisps and put it in the thing, and I've gone back to the trolley, and I'm walking down. And you know, when you're in Asda or anywhere in a shop, you know, I'm the type of person, and I'm the type of shopper. If I come in the door and what I need is in the last aisle, I still have to walk up and down every single aisle before I get to what I want. Even if I don't pick nothing up, I don't want nothing. I've literally come in with £1 to get the milk. I'm that shopper. I have to. If I don't, my whole day's not set right, and I can't, and I'm like hyperventilating in the corner. There are some people who literally walk to what they want and they go. So when I'm doing my shop, I'm not noticing at the time that there was this a Polish couple following me, like literally doing the same as I was doing. But to me, they're the same type of shopper that I am. So, you know, I'm like, oh, I found another weirdo. Do you know what I mean? Didn't think anything of it. When I've then I paid, got in the car, and I've gone to come out of the parking space, and they've then literally stopped their car right in front of mine. Me, I've got a mouth on me, so I'm there like, what the fuck are you doing? Move your car. Like, if you want the space, I need to get out of it before you can get in it. Do you know what I mean? So move your fucking car. So in the end, he reversed back. I've come out and I've driven home. Well, at the time I lived with my mum, so I've driven to my mum's. It just so happens my mum's road was quite quiet and very sad of me. I knew what cars was the neighbours, and if there was a different car, I'm like, well, who the hell is that, and who's got visitors, and why have they got visitors? Do you know what I mean? Because I'm just nosy like that. So as I've pulled in, when I've looked up in my mirror, I've seen another car pull in. So I'm like, okay, and I've left my lights on, because now I'm like, this car's not on my street. I turn my lights off, but my car's on still. I turn my lights off, and their lights go off. So I'm like, all right, cool. Then I put the window down a little bit, and their car had turned off. But then they've not got out the car. I haven't, they haven't. I opened my door, they opened theirs. Yeah, see, from that, I shut my door and my car was still on. I've gone. I'd driven to like my baby father's house, which would have been about, well, normally a 15-minute drive. I was, so I got there in about 5, literally. But I'm calling him and I'm like, this car is following me. Like, I don't know where it's come from. I don't know who's in it, but like, it's following me. So he's like, asking me like what the veg is and blah, blah, blah. We looked up the veg, and the car was registered to somewhere like far, like, I don't know what's at the top of England, but it was somewhere way up there. And I live in Croydon at the bottom of England. So it's like, how are you down here? But, you know, people register their cars in different places and whatever. So I'm like, okay, cool. I then drove a road away from his house. Again, they've pulled in. And bearing in mind, I'm the only person in my car. So I'm like, shit. He then said, obviously, he doesn't want something to happen outside of his house, because if they know where I live, and now they know where he lives, do you know what I mean? So I then went to the petrol station around the corner, and they've come with me as well. Bearing in mind, I'm driving like a nutter. I'm on the other side of the road. I'm on the pavement. My foot is down. I get to the petrol station, and I've stopped at a pump, and they've pulled, so it's like a Tesco Express. So where the building was, they've pulled and parked at this, like at this side. So from where I was, I couldn't see that they're there. So I'm on the phone to both of them, like, it's okay, they've gone, don't worry about it. Yeah, I'm shaken up, but I'm just gonna go home. Luckily, I didn't hang up. I had my loudspeaker and I had the phone in a holder. As I've pulled out, their car is there, lights beaming in my eyes. So I've now stopped because I don't want to drive, but because the lights are in my eyes, I can't see. And I'm just sitting there like, what the hell? Luckily, my doors that lock automatically as you drive. Don't think, my back door, someone's trying to open my thing, and I'm like, what the fuck? So now I've come out the car, I'm still blinded, I'm like, I can't see. There's a woman at the door at the back of my car, but where I was in my in rage mode, I didn't kind of realize what she was doing at the time. I've then gone to the car, and the guy is still in the driver's seat. I'm literally pulling down his window, and I'm like to him, what do you want? Now, when I look in the back, there's a baby seat in the back, doesn't have a baby in it. And the guy is there like, oh, I've got a baby in the car, don't scream, don't shout, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, I've got a baby in mine. And that's when I realized, oh shit, I've got a baby in mine. When I've turned around, this lady is trying to undo the buckle on my kid's seatbelt. But where I work in Halfords, so he had a 5-point harness, but then he had an extra bit that went across. So I knew if he managed to open the belt, this alarm thing would go off. So she couldn't figure out how to get that off and get him out of the chair. So she's undone the 5-point harness, but then this other thing's across him, and she's there like, well, what the fuck is this? By that time, luckily, my baby father, his dad, his uncle, they'd all turned up. There was all, literally, it was mad. She's then, I don't know how she even got away. I think we was just so concerned on like my kids. They managed to go away and drive off. So I called the police, obviously. They've watched the cameras from Asda. They've watched the cameras the way I drove. They watched the cameras from the Tesco petrol station. It was obvious they wanted to steal my child.
Oh my God.
To this day, has the police done anything about it? No. All they could tell me was that the car was not registered in London. I was like, I know that, I figured that out already. I've done that on my way here. You need to tell me something different. You need to tell me where this car is from, where these people are from, and who they are. All now, I'm still waiting. Still waiting to this day. And do you know why I don't know? Because they're part of the elite circle, and they had their minions out there doing their work, and they didn't think I was going to react like that. Do you know what I mean? I'm a back then I was 22. Do you know what I mean? So I was a young girl with basically a newborn baby, looking like I was in my own world, because like I said, I was I left the trolley and I'd go and get my stuff and put it in as you normally do. Oh. And they thought they could take advantage of that. And to this day, if I wasn't on it, I wouldn't have my kid now. Wouldn't have him.
This is the same situation that happened with my son, wasn't it, the other week? I still haven't had the police out to my home address after my son was sexually assaulted by a 40-year-old man. Why?
Because they don't care, because it's the type of stuff that they do themselves. And they're all
Exactly. Now, if I lived in a posh area and, my son was white, I think I would have been treated very differently. Very differently.
I don't know. I think it's the crime, fam. I just don't think they give a fuck about that kind of shit, fam. It's fucked up, fam. All I know is, man, it's your duty to protect your youth, man. When I'm walking my daughter, fam, yeah, I don't even let go of my hand for 30 seconds, bro. Yeah, not even for a millisecond, boy. Man, even look at my youth when I'm walking my youth, fam. Yeah, I'm looking at them. I'm looking at them first because I don't care who it is. Don't touch her. Don't touch. You don't smile at her.
This is why things are dealt with. This is why things are dealt with differently, isn't it? You know, and you have to take the law into your own hands sometimes.
Yeah, you have to. You have to take.
And as soon as you do take the law into your own hands, the police show up.
Yeah. You're committing a crime now. You're causing a problem.
Because they're lucky, they're lucky, bro.
Yeah, they wanted to, on that incident, they wanted to get me for speeding.
Wow.
I was driving too. I said, what?
Yeah,
they said, yeah, you was driving over the speed limit. I said, yeah, to keep my child safe. For him,
wow. They won't
I
even
had
look
to drive
for
like
your
that.
youth, fam. You get
They was like, you had gone through a number of red lights. You was on the other side of the road. You was on the pavement. You was on this. I'm like, oh, it's funny that you've got cameras to see that, but when there were kids getting stabbed on a daily basis on the same roads that I've driven down, your cameras don't work then, do they?
No, you have to get stabbed in the bus lane for them to see anything.
What do you mean? Even then, the bus cameras don't work. Do you know how many times I sit on a bus and the little screen thing, it just comes up with no connection, no connection.
Not on the bus, but on the bus lane. You know, like
in the bus lane,
you definitely get a ticket. They don't ever miss that shit. You get me?
Trust me.
You have to get stabbed in the bus lane for them to catch anything. You get me?
Do you know what? That story about Milan, I say story, that experience is a life-changing experience, man. That's something else. You know what I mean? That stick with you forever. I mean, parents, if you're a parent or parents, or even if parents, as family, you just got to be careful of your young ones, your loved ones.
It changed how I am as a parent because, you know, growing up, you know, I was always like, when I was younger, when I had, when I didn't have kids, I was like, you know, when I'm a mum, I don't want to be too like strict, and you know, I want to let him or her have like freedom and Now, yeah, if you're on your scooter, you best be either by my side or right in front of me. I want to be able to trip up and land on top of you, because like I said, if anyone's going to kill my child, it's going to be me. Do you know what I'm saying? So I want to be able to trip up and be on top of you. Do you know what I mean? If we're on a bus, you are sitting on the window seat. I don't care what's going on the edge. You're sitting at the window seat because I am your protector. Like, I'm protecting you now, but now I'm overprotective because of situations that have happened in my life. If I'm in the park, it's hard for me to let him run off and be at a distance, because if I can't see you, I'm like, oh my God, where's he gone? He's only on the slide and he's gone inside the tunnel bit and I can't see him. But yeah, but what if someone's took my child? Do you know what I mean? That's always now in the back of my head. The boy will be in school and I'm still at work, like, how do I know if he's there? I dropped him off. He's 5, he's in reception. I dropped him off. I saw him go in the gate in the classroom and he sat on the floor and he hung up his coat. But how do I know he's still there? Do you know what I mean? Like, my mind now is always on like 1,000%. Always.
Yeah, you send your children to school, so you think they're safe, and they're not always safe. My brother ran out of the nursery and ran across, just about to go run across the road, and the nursery teacher was running behind him and managed to grab him just in the nick of time, but he's gone. I remember there was a similar situation that happened actually in Roath Park in Cardiff. Yeah. There was, they did say there was a paedophile gang that was hanging around, and at the top of it, we've got this really long slide, and you have to go up about 1 million steps, don't you, Chid, to get to the top of the slide. So by the time you're at the top of the slide and your child's gone down the slide, you have to get back down the slide in time to catch your child. And if you allow them to go up on their own and you wait at the bottom for them, at the top it was very open, there was no safety there. So this is where the paedophile gang were hanging around, and children, there was an incident where one had been taken, and it was that easy, but they've obviously closed it off now and it's more safe. But it's like every parent's worst nightmare, isn't it?
It's terrible. There was a paedophile in my daughter's school. He was in my daughter's school working on the school grounds, and this is what I mean. It's like, what the fuck? And the school was saying, you know, it wasn't down to them to do the DBS check and everything, it's the company. But papers got swapped and he ended up being in the school rather than going to where he was supposed to go. And he was hanging around the children, and it was only because luckily one of the mums was so active on social media that the child who the older child from the high school who went to pick up her little brother or sister recognised him and said, he's a paedophile. And started screaming at the police and said, he's a paedophile. Like, literally, he's been in the paper, he's been on the news, everything. How is he in a school? And it was mad, and they just had to shut down the school. Yeah, call a mad emergency meeting. And then Ima said, yeah, he was a proper weirdo. He used to stare at them all the time, go to the shops and talk to all the high school kids. Scary man's roaming and everything. And where is the police? Like, and then you got the police walking up and down. But what are you actually doing? You didn't clock that a paedophile was in the school. But yet, but then, you know, on my DBS check, you know, maybe I could have something like absolutely ridiculous, like for fighting or whatever, and then you wanna hold me up over that and ask me, and I get red flags every time my DBS comes in. I get red flags for something that I did when I was 15. But then these people are paedophiles, and you ain't blocked that.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's because we've been talking about it. You see that people talk about knife crime, all that shit, so the police are out there stopping bare blackies every single day. You get me, stripping them on the road. But these paedophiles, they be walking up and down by your kids' school. Feds ain't stopping the searching these fucking little scumbags. You see what I'm trying to say? There's people that go out of their way to find paedophiles, and they're not feds, bro. Like, they're not feds, man.
My
like,
friend is doing that. He's part of the
feds are
paedophile.
so shit, bro. Yeah, that there's people not even getting paid, bro. I get it, because you don't have to get paid to do that. But I'm saying, feds get paid, bro. Yeah, these people are going out of their way to go online and pretend to be young to find these paedophiles and catch them, boy. Yeah,
my friend does it. He's part of the paedophile
the
hunters.
elite circle own the
people
police.
Have to do it. This is the thing, but this is what I'm saying about everything. The people have to do it. But what I was gonna say, was kind of like what you were saying about the elite. Yeah, this thing is not new, innit? This thing is what they've been doing for hundreds of hundreds. Like, I forget like when they were talking about the priests raping off the kids. Them, like, this thing is old school, like the wind in the willows, bro.
Wind in the willows.
You see, like when they say people say like Michael Jackson raped off the little boys. Say, oh, Michael didn't do that. But you're shaking your head down. Michael was part of the motherfucking elite, man. Regardless of what anyone wants to say, bro. Any of them, R. Kelly. All these all these people that are rich, famous, like powerful, they all see this shit happening, even if they didn't do it, they saw it, they saw it. Remember, Jimmy Savile was Sir Jimmy Savile before they killed him, you know, before he died, he was Sir Jimmy Savile, you know, and he was raping off kids for a long time, you know. Not just touching up kids. I'm talking about kids with cancer, kids dying in the hospital. The man that was raping off kids for a long time, and he was Sir Jimmy Savile. Yeah, that means he's brethren with the rascal monarchy. Yeah, so understand how deep this thing runs. Remember, Prince Andrew's the Queen's son. Yeah, you get what I'm saying? He's not no illegitimate step cousin. He is the son of the Queen, bro. Yeah, doing a madness, doing a mad thing, man. Yeah. So what I'm saying, like, when people say Michael Jackson didn't do it, and what do you mean? They all do it, fam. Usher, whoever, Chris Brown, like, it don't matter. It doesn't matter who you want to say or who you don't want to say. Rihanna, Nicki Minaj, doesn't matter, bro. Jay-Z, it doesn't matter. Like, they all do this thing, and if they don't do it,
they're all aware of it.
Happen. They allow it to happen.
Yeah.
They create spaces and places for it to happen. You get me? They create silence. They create, you get me, secrets. You get what I'm saying? They allow this shit to happen, though. So it's been normal. You get what I'm saying? And then what they do now, when they're ready to shut you down, they'll say, "Oh, you molested kids, you ret-a-tat." Of course, that's why they could do that to Michael, do that to R. Kelly, do that to whoever they want to do it to, because they know he did it. Jimmy Savile, all these man, Tom Hanks now, Hillary Clinton now. You get me? Whoever they want, because this is the whole point.
Did you see that?
You can't not do what we tell you to do because you have done this. Yeah? And if you don't do what we tell you to do, what's going to happen is we're just going to expose off your thing.
Expose you.
We're just going to mash down your thing. You get me? Like, they're all on it, fam.
It's not power.
It's not like, oh, which one of them didn't do it? You get me? They all done it, bro. You get me? Like,
okay, do you know what?
To the island, they're all Epstein's brethren, bro. Like, Ricky Gervais, you don't know about Ricky Gervais, yeah?
Oh,
Golden Globe. No one watched that. There's no one watched
Yeah.
that. No one watched Golden Globe. I beg you, yeah? Anyone who thinks that I'm chatting shit, Go watch the Golden Globe. Ricky Gervais is the host. He's been the host for years, yeah?
Mhm.
Go what he said, this is the last Golden Globe I'm ever doing. Watch how I'm slewing you lot for the whole show.
Oh, I saw it. And he
When I
outed
say
everybody, didn't he?
slewed them, talking about you lot are all rapists. Your brethren are rapists. You get me? You lot are all Epstein's friends. Epstein did not kill himself. Like, and he said it calm. Like, he didn't care. He was like, you lot can't touch me, man. Yeah? And he did that for a reason. There's a reason why he can do that. And they can't touch him. Why? Because he ain't raped off no kids. You get me? He's letting them know, you lot are all rapists. You lot are all Epstein's brethren. You lot are all pedophiles. You lot are all sitting here smiling and laughing, ha, ha, ha. But I'm talking to all of you. Come on. You can do that live on TV and still people are acting like it might not be true. It's not a joke.
Do you know what? Actually, made some good points there about Jeffrey Epstein, Jimmy Savile, and Prince Andrew. But you know, I want to just quickly touch on Chili's point earlier about the person in the kid's school, right? And I don't know if you guys noticed, Chili said the school blamed somebody else. They said it was the agency's fault for the person being there. And it's my issue that I have with certain things, like accountability. No one will say accountability for anything. And let me get this straight. You are the school, look after my child or children, or mine and Cher's children, of course. And you're telling me that there's someone here that shouldn't be here. Yeah, I saw that face, Cher. Someone here that shouldn't be here, and you're going to try and blame it on somebody else. You're not going to take responsibility of it. You're going to say, "Oh, it's not our fault. It's the agency's fault for having it." Hang on, no. I'm not sending my kid to the agency. I send my kid to your school to keep my child safe, innit? Or mine and Cher's child safe. So that's one issue that I have, is that there's no accountability. No one will take responsibility for things like that. And the school's telling me that, no, it's not my fault. No, it is your fault. Do you know what I mean? It is your fault. Don't tell me nothing. Don't tell me it's not your fault. It's your fault. Maybe you as an individual, but your establishment, it's your fault.
Because it's down to you to double check, triple check, over check, fucking do that extra check, and then do a check after that check. Because how are you going to tell me, oh, you know, it's not down to us to do DBS checks. Fuck you. You probably done one on me. Fuck you. Innit? Like, you probably did one on me as a parent, so go and do one on my guy,
100%.
They were social services at your club. You get me?
You know what I mean?
But you know, the maddest thing is, they can say what they want. They still have to take accountability because their school got shut down, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy.
See what your blood clot was, the school still got shut down, yo.
It's crazy how much this stuff happens as well. Like, I feel like schools are the ultimate place for predators. Like, it's just like the favorite place. Like, I remember when I was about 14 and I was on my way to school, and you know, I literally just got the bus. So the bus was literally only like up the road from the school. So I was walking from the bus stop, and this car of like older men was driving past, and they stopped their car. I was still walking, and they stopped their car, and they're like, get in the car. And I'm like, no. Me, I don't speak to people like that anyway. Like, I keep to myself, and I'm a child. Why am I gonna be jumping in a car? I was like, no. And they literally followed me all the way from like up the road to the school. And then when I got there, the school luckily were like, are you okay? Like, you look a bit worried. And I was like, oh, it was just this car followed me to school. And then they took it seriously. They actually like rang the police and everything. I wasn't even expecting that to happen, to be honest. But, you know, sometimes they do their job, but...
Oh, yeah.
You know, sometimes they don't.
But that's taking responsibility and accountability, and that's why the school wouldn't be shut down. But if it's going to be Chili's school, or the school that Chili's daughter goes to is not taking responsibility, then too bad, it should be shut down. Because you're now blaming somebody else, and it's not even like something small, innit? It's not like you've broken someone's mobile phone. It's like, oh, it wasn't me, it was them. No, you got a paedophile here. Like, this is not right.
A fully fledged paedophile.
It's the same as Wayfair. They're blaming this situation on algorithms, and it's just the name of a product. And now they've took those products down, and they're going to change their names. Well, if the algorithm didn't pick whatever name you're going to pick now in the first place, then how are people going to find your products without the algorithm? Do you know what I mean? Like, they're just using excuses, and excuses is all it is, because they don't want to have the blame on them, and obviously we can't know what's going on in the world with all of these kids. Do you know what I mean? It's like yesterday I was on a train and there was this one poster I kept seeing for like missing kids, but it was the same boy, and apparently he went missing 25 like years ago, and it's like, can we help to find him? I'm like, what? And it was the same white kids, and I'm like, 25 years ago, there's kids that have gone missing right now. There were kids that have gone missing yesterday. There were kids that are going to go missing, but you want me to help you search for a guy that went missing 25 years ago?
Mad.
Okay.
Mad.
Madeline McCann, isn't it?
Oh, Madeline. Bruh. Poor Madeline.
Exactly. So, guys, it's been 2 hours. How are you guys feeling?
I'm feeling good. I'm glad we're speaking about things that are not spoken about, because I've been ignorant to it. Not ignorant, but I've just been like, oh, don't talk about it. Nah, we have to talk about it. It's very important. We have to. We have to have awareness of the bullshit that's going on in the world, because it's real stuff. We are at the hands of people that, you know, the powers that be, people who are supposed to protect us and keep us safe and keep us in the know. No, they're just feeding us with whatever they want us to hear, whatever they want us to hear, and trying to cover up the fact that they go around molesting kids, raping women. Or there's like auctions with women, stealing women, drugging them and auctioning them off. They're doing it to men. Do you get me? They're doing it to young boys. It's disgusting. Absolutely disgusting.
So bad.
It's
Like a
we're
cattle
placing,
market.
and just I think so. Just before I forget, I think Milan was saying, what's his name now? Rupert Murdoch. So I know she mentioned Rupert Murdoch a few times. For those who don't know, he's a billionaire, if I'm not mistaken, and he's the head or owner of a lot of the daily tabloids. I think News of the World, I think The Sun, and a few others obviously in the UK and obviously some overseas as well.
He owns all the media. It's just that he won't put his name on everything because he's been cancelled so many times. So there are people underneath him that will say that they're the head of like the Times or something like that. No. Rupert Murdoch owns all of it. Everything. It's just other people underneath him will say that they own this certain like media outlet, and somebody else owns this certain like media outlet, because again, we can't know that he owns everything and runs everything. Do you know what I mean?
Bad. So disgusting.
So guys, is it time to wrap it up? Oh,
Yeah.
wait, sorry, Shay. I know Shay was going to say something. I know Shay was going to say, Shay, my apologies. I didn't mean to cut you. Obviously, we're planning on doing certain things this weekend. I didn't want to cut you, right? So please forgive me.
What? Yeah, and
Are you two joining households now, or is it? Does that mean that no one else can join each other's households?
No, thank you.
They're building social bubbles.
Isn't there a thing called Holiday Inn, right? Isn't there a song called Holiday Inn? The Holiday Inn.
Yeah.
You said big wedding, your friend.
Girl, you wanna? Okay, maybe that's nothing new. No, kind of songs.
Let the party begin.
Look at Shay's face. She is not impressed. I thought the girl done freeze. Look at you, just like.
Like, do you know when you put that face in my family? Yeah, that's
My G.
like that face in my family is done. It's all over.
I'm so confused. Did she freeze?
the camera
or is that
froze?
her? Like,
No, I think she's frozen. I think she's frozen.
She's frozen, but see, that's how vexed she was, you know. She's so vexed, yeah. She froze the camera with her vexed. That's bad, you know. She looks like my auntie. She looks like my auntie bad. Vexed, see? That's my grandfather right there.
I love it.
We need a little screenshot, guys. Little screenshot. Share. You were so vexed, yeah? Your vexedness, yeah, froze the whole screen.
My energy picked up on it, boy. It just went.
Energy.
Bye.
My elections all lighting up and everything. That's what I forgot. Oh, fucking hell, I'm gone now tonight. R.I.P. Jizzy. Fucking hell. I'm done up here now.
just say it now so we know you're not suicidal. And
I'm not suicidal. I'm healthy. I got a pulse, everything. My heart's beating, everything. If you don't see me on the next live, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Love it.
Stop it.
So, guys, probably time to wrap it up. It was a good episode today. I think it was a lot, very insightful actually. As I said, for those who obviously the live stopped now, I think a lot of stuff that actually was saying in the middle topic in regards to Farrakhan, Dr. Serbi, it's probably worth even just looking up again and listening to again. Very insightful, very useful. And so, what's next week's topic going to be?
You should do Sticky. You should do a 1 2 snippet clips so man can post them of like different good things that all of us said. It might be a bit,
I ain't got time for that.
I'll do it. Come on.
What do you mean we're on lockdown? What else are you doing?
That's my job, isn't it?
Podcast.
What's that again?
You know, like if you could get something like good of each of us, like so we could post it on our own thing, like something amazing Chidi said, or maybe something amazing Cher said, something amazing that Milan said.
Yeah, when I got to spare 2 hours.
And then we need Sticky's introduction. That definitely needs to be. He needs that introduction to be played over and over again. Like you get me, so people get used to hearing that voice there. You feel me?
You know what?
I can do that. You get me?
I love it. I love the way you do it. Do you know when I was editing the last one? When I was editing the last one, I was crying.
Milan changes every week. Sometimes it's the.
I know. I love mine.
Yeah, she's evolving.
Sometimes it's
evolving.
Yeah, it's different.
Trust me, I want angles. I want it all.
I'm saying. Obviously, we've got our Welsh princess and we've got our small island lady over there as well. Yeah, I mean, you know the last one, right? It was funny because Chili froze it right at the beginning.
That's what I was. You know, when I was editing it, I cried tears laughing because I just stopped. And then you said, no, do you know what? Let's do this again. I'm going to have to put some, like, what's it called? The bloopers. I'll have to put them up there because it actually was funny.
Do you know, I thought you were going to keep it in, actually. I should have said to you, keep it in.
I'll put it up anyway. I'll put it up. It's funny.
So what's next week's topic is going to be then? Let me stop this. Hold on. I'm going to pause the video and recording.
Hey.